Computer, speak to me. Computer.
What more do you want from me? Oh my God.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Way Better NPCs, episode 1 of 2021. I am Amit. I'm joined with Greg and Santino. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Amit? How you doing?
Dude, can't complain. It's exciting to do our first video, especially with this topic we're going to get into. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone, please share, like, subscribe to our channel. Totally helps us out. We got a whole bunch of other stuff on here too. I think Santino and Rob are doing their anime talks, things like that. So, you know, we're just keeping the channel going. So please subscribe, please share it. We love that. All right, fellas. So 2020 sucked as a year, but not for video games. It was amazing.
True.
Our last video, we did Game of the Year. So check that video out as our last video of 2020. Overall, in terms of the Game Awards, the official Game Awards, Last of Us 2 was the clear winner.
Well deserved for all you haters out there.
So yeah, can't wait to play that one. But probably the most hyped game of 2020 had to have been Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this game, I think it was announced in 2012, and then it goes quiet for a little bit. Everyone's asking what's going on with it. CD Projekt Red, you know, Witcher's amazing, and everyone's talking about it. So everyone's, you know, where is this game? So in 2018 E3, they dropped that, like, what was it, like a 40-minute demo of that game, and it was incredible. I think as soon as that game could have been available for pre-order on Best Buy, I snatched it up right away.
We had the receipts. It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. So it was
been
insane.
holding them.
Yeah, and then what? Then 2019 comes E3, and they bring out Keanu Reeves, and it goes
breathtaking.
Yes, you're
breathtaking.
breathtaking.
Yeah.
It was an amazing. They're all-time highs, right?
That's when my hype was there for that.
Absolutely, right? Like everyone's, when is this game coming? Then I think we got an April 2020 date. Then it delays to September. And then we get the delay again to November. But okay, 1 week after the new consoles come out, cool. It's going to be our console.
It's going to be phenomenal on the new consoles, so forth.
Great, right?
Not phenomenal, Brian. So that's...
we'll get into that.
Yeah, and then they delayed to December 10th, and everyone's like, okay, let's see if this one sticks. That date actually stuck, and it came out. Now, we have more than a month now that we've had our hands on it. We've played it. We've finished it or attempted to finish it. We'll get into that. But since it was Santino's birthday yesterday, I'm going to kick it off with his thoughts first, because I saw his Twitter earlier and he wanted to get into it. So, man. Santino, let's go.
But before I go, we are missing a very important cast member. And the only reason Rob is not here is because Rob did not play the game. So Rob thought he would sit in the background and enjoy our greatness and, you know, not contribute to what is going to be the best Cyberpunk video you see all year. Like everybody else,
he may be the real winner.
Yeah, he may be the real winner. Everybody else, I was excited for the game. As the delays poured in, the excitement teetered. Still hopeful CD Projekt can do no wrong. Boy, was I wrong. I hate the game. I didn't enjoy it. You know, like, and this is not me being like one of the guys, the game sucks because it was hyped and I just hate it. I'm going to I play on PC. Like, I still had issues, but not as many issues as the console players, which is extremely stupid with how many issues you guys had or still have, even though they did all these updates and so forth. Like, whatever, we'll get to that later. The game was just, it felt so dead to me majority of the time. Like, the city, like, there was the opening when you first get in the city, I texted you guys this. I was like, the NPCs feel so alive, the city feels so alive. But if you stand in that same spot for 5 minutes, they do the same thing for an eternity. So and Greg said this the other day, maybe like a week ago, he was like, the further he got into the game, the more he saw what was broken about the game. Like,
Agreed.
I think I brought this up to Greg. We had a separate text message because you were still playing it a meet. The AIs seemed brain dead 99% of the time. It was like fighting nothing. The story was boring to me. I just didn't. It's not my cup of tea. Greg's gonna go way more in depth than me. I honestly, like, I have to gather my thoughts still on this, but I don't know what to say good about it. So, Greg, please take it away and let me come back, because I'm still upset about what we played.
All right. So for me, I feel like we are burying the lead of it. We'll talk about the launch and the reception with how Cyberpunk handled that after, but I feel like it's hard to get around it and talk about the game without talking about how like extremely broken it was at launch. So I played the whole game. I platinumed it.
Insane.
And
Greg will platinum anything he touches, ladies and gentlemen. So
the problem was I committed to it early in the game that I was going to do this, and I really was enjoying it. Like, the game was a lot of fun for me early. I actually liked the story all the way through. I really got into the story. I liked the characters, the side missions with the main characters, not gigs, not the NCPD scanners. Those,
oh god,
whatever.
Those were bad.
But the main side missions I thought were really good. The ones with Panam, Judy, River.
Oh man, I don't even remember.
That goes over my head.
Perry, or Carrie. Yeah, Carrie Eurodyne. So like in Rogue, so there's a bunch of those. Like, they don't make it clear how to do them. They're kind of hidden in the world. So I really enjoyed it at the beginning. I was digging in. I kept wanting to do more. I was doing a lot of side missions before advancing the story, and I was having fun with that. But the more I went on, the more I got towards that platinum, and the more I kind of like powered up my character, like everything just kind of falls apart. And I don't think it's because, like, the normal RPG, you can grind, get super powerful, and then just like,
and it's one shot every time. Yeah.
Like, but usually, like, as the enemies scale and things scale, like, it kind of balances out. Yeah, maybe in early worlds that happens, but this game, it felt like the enemy levels and the competition you get from the enemies was like so stagnant, regardless of like how hard a mission was supposed to be and like your danger level. It didn't feel like it really scaled. Like, really a good. Once I was upgraded, I did like the hacking, like intelligence points. I could literally walk into a room, do a breach protocol and contagion, and wipe a whole room out like that. And like, it was fun at the beginning when it was like, oh cool, like I'm getting powerful, and then it was just a waste. AI didn't do anything. Like, if anyone had any life left, I could just run up to everybody with a katana. Like, it was that simple. There was no hiding. There's no this. There's one trophy where you have to shoot a grenade out of the air, and you could literally like, you can try to bait them into throwing grenades. And I had a situation where an AI person, like, he just like ran around, just was running around in the room, refused to shoot me, refused to do anything.
That sounds like me in a gunfight then.
It's your kind of gunfight then, dude.
There were the problems with the AI where, you get out of your car and you go into a building and you come out and like traffic is backed up for a mile because nobody will go around your car.
Well, that's illegal.
If you hit something on the side of the street, you get a police thing. But police don't chase you.
Dude, yeah, the police thing was like, in GTA, you get a star, it's instantaneous. Yeah. In this game, it's like, I got away from the cops instantaneous.
If you're in a car, they don't chase you. You get away. If you're on foot, they just pop up and surround you. Like, they literally pop
They
out
just
of
spawn in.
nowhere.
I had a side mission like that I never finished.
Yeah. I don't know what they were doing. Like, the guns didn't feel that, like, cool. Like, they had tech guns and they had science or power guns, and
every gun felt like it was either a single 3-shot or a fully automatic. Like, there was no like special perk to it.
the Skippy that hit you in the head, like it didn't feel cool. None of it felt cool. That's why I didn't use my guns. I just did katana and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like the more I played, the more like everything stuck out as being
Bad.
just bad.
Yeah.
That's doesn't even. I mean, I was forgiving it. I was very high on this game, even when I was crashing about once an hour. I thought like I was forgiving of that.
Let's
And
go
then
back
by
to
the-
like opening day of this game. Like Greg was like on like board with this game when we first got it. Like Greg was like,
I
yeah,
was 100%,
you guys were like, you know, it's got its flaws. I'm enjoying it. Like me within the first 2 days, I was over it. I was sick and tired of like even the little glitches I was seeing on PC. I was frustrated with like how boring the story felt to me. Like Greg said, he enjoyed the story. I didn't play as much. I finished the game, but I didn't do as much as Greg did in regards to story because there's a lot of side story that essentially should have been main story, but they considered it side story, in my opinion.
Yep.
And it was just like the game was going in so many directions, and you could tell that they wanted to do this, but they took it out, or they should have taken this out, but they kept it. And then from there, it was just like the story never interested me. Like it never hooked me. And by the time I got to the end, I was just like, that's it. It just ended.
I know the ending you got, and I would have felt the same way because crazy.
Yeah, that spoiler. I picked the suicide ending.
Yeah,
it was just like what. And I mean, go ahead. We'll talk more about. I'm going to take up all this time. Just you go. Me, give us your quick synopsis, and we'll dig into other things with this wonderful game.
Yeah. So this game made me. This game made me more appreciative of what the game. I'm so pumped for first person, Avowed coming out. I'm so for all that stuff in the future because I totally I forgot how much I like first person because I've been playing all these PlayStation third person stuff. So I forgot how much I like first person. So when I got to it, I was like, I remember this. It fits like a glove. I can't wait to keep playing this game. And I actually didn't have many glitches at all until we got to the end. And so when I'm playing it, I felt like I was rushed through it though, because there was a lot of things to me that were just like, I have a 65-inch TV, and I'm still like, what does that say on the screen? It's so small. Like, what? I can't read that. Crafting? I didn't craft anything.
I didn't craft shit. I never crafted once.
I don't know what to do. All these attachments and stuff. I'm like, it gets cumbersome. It was too much. Like, you couldn't carry enough. Like, I wish I could like get a gun. And like in Valhalla, you get one item and you can start upgrading. And I love that.
And you do that until you find a better one.
Right, exactly. In this, it was like, oh, I'm going to pick up like 20 copperheads.
I'm getting the same submachine gun.
Yeah.
And it happens to be 3 levels higher.
Exactly. It's instead of 120, it's 123. And
if you pick up too many items and your save might break.
Right.
If you hold too many items at one time.
That's a whole, that's a different, we'll go into that as well.
And so my issues with the game was those are some of my issues. I didn't like the inventory screen. I didn't do half the things that I think they want you to do. I didn't care about collecting any cars.
Same.
For me, it was just let me get from here to there so I can do the mission.
I spent $200,000 on a car that ended up being the size of the funny car. It's literally a 2-door, 3 wheels, red car. And I was like, wait, is this a joke? And it was $250,000.
Yeah, Eddie's. And so there was a lot of things that I don't think they need to happen. The first time I got a motorcycle, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I hit a pole and then I
flew off it
like a million feet in the air. But my issues all happen at the end. So I'm at the end of the game. There is a mission called like play it safe. You take out 3 snipers, you go down an elevator, you fight the bad guy, the main boss, and then you have to leave. That mission altogether probably as a 25-minute mission from beginning to end. After I beat the second sniper, I had to keep reloading different saves because elevators wouldn't open.
This was the same issue for me, same level.
I couldn't do elevators. There's 2 different elevators, so I had to go different ways. And then when I thought I figured it out, the elevator to get to the next place didn't work. And I was like, oh my God. So it took 2 hours to beat this. I had to go on a scaffold. I actually had to look up first where this elevator was going to take me. And then in the video, I saw that there was a it was like an awning, or not an awning, but it was like an open balcony. So I was like, okay, so I had to figure out my jump from this balcony that's on like the 31st floor. It was on the 20th floor, 24th floor. So I didn't have double jump at this point because upgrading your.
Oh, there's a double jump?
Yeah, but
Yeah, with your legs.
I
Dude,
barely
didn't fucking
upgraded
upgrade
anything on
in this
myself.
fucking
Right.
game.
So I jumped for the balcony, and then I just kept mashing jump. So when I would hit the building, I survived somehow, and then I got down from the 31st floor down to the 24th just by like hitting awnings, and that was not the way to do it. But that's the only way I could do it. I reloaded 7 or 8, 9 different saves, and
That happened with me on a Pan Am mission. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I was like, okay, so I beat that mission finally. It ruined my night. It took 2 hours. I could have been done with this game. It's literally the
because that's the last mission of Act 2, right?
Right.
Yeah, you have 2 missions after that.
Yeah, but they're all linear, right? If you go,
it's all linear.
die and and so fine, all right, cool. Santino, you told me about the ending. You said I got a lame one, so I was like, all right, I want to do this Pan Am because everyone's talking about how Pan Am's a great character, and I agree, she's a great.
She's probably the best character in the game, in my opinion.
So I try to do her side mission so I can romance her and get that nice ending. But you know what happens? I get to this part where I have to pick up a key code or a scan card in this tower cell. And every time I cannot pick it up. I reloaded 5 or 6 different saves. I cannot pick up the key card. So I said, F this. So then I'm like, all right, let me just go and I'll just go up the building at the end and start Act 3 and let's go. I couldn't get up the building to talk to the people. So my save was corrupted there, so I can't go up the building.
That's ridiculous.
And so I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm just gonna watch the.
Oh, you didn't even finish. You ended up watching it.
I cannot finish. My auto saves and manual saves are done. I'm not
fuck
going
that.
back. I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And so I just watched a whole bunch of them.
Endings.
Yeah. So and then they leave it open for DLC stuff. So that's
fuck that, dude.
See,
I just hope
I'll probably play the DLC, especially if we have a PS5 enhanced version at that time. Because as negative as I've been, like I had fun playing the game the whole time, even as it got bad. Like it was still dumb fun. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is just like a Fallout, like same idea, just as good, all these things." Then the flaws set in, and I'm like, it's not so much that. Like, I wouldn't hold it to that level. There's a lot of flaws in this game, but I constantly had fun. I just think, like, they didn't know what they were going for. Like Amit said, I think it was good you brought the systems in. Like, I think this hype and this overpromise was what they wanted, but like, there wasn't enough game to support the systems. And there was also a weird tonal change. Like sometimes it was trying to be real edgy with like the scenery and what was going on, and then sometimes it was like really light and like kind of making fun of itself.
Not just that though, but the dynamic between Johnny Silverhand and you, because you have different dialogue choices. At some points, it's like I hate this motherfucker, and then it's just like, hey man, we're best friends, and
it jumps all the way around.
You're dying, and there's a sense of urgency, but then it's like, hey,
but then you're cracking jokes. Let's go chill.
Or go spend 120 hours in this game, and my life doesn't matter. If there's an urgency thing, they should have maybe stuck with the urgency thing. Like, hey, you have to beat this mission in this amount of time.
Permadeath thing.
It's something. Yeah. The bugs were permadeath, so that's
the game permadeath itself.
So you guys, I when I mentioned his name, you guys didn't have this mission, and for me, it was one like the most like I don't know how it fit in this game or why it was so jarring and like just weird and brutal mission. So it's River Ward. It's a trophy path mission, so I'm sure a lot of people have played it if they care about the trophies. But he's a cop, and it starts out like, oh, he thinks someone on the police force did something wrong, and you expose the guy, and then he gets fired, and you're like, okay, like common cops in the city story or something. He doesn't want to go into internal affairs, so he gets fired. The next mission, his nephew's missing, and all of a sudden you are going onto his laptop and tracking down a pedophile who
Oh, Jesus Christ.
kidnaps kids, brings them to a farm, and sticks them like up to like cow feeders to their mouth.
Jesus fuck.
And it gets super dark and disturbing. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like this tone, it's like a serial killer pedophile like sex ring thing in the middle of a game that like other than that and Evelyn, there's two like super dark storylines.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game
the
is
Evelyn,
just like
the beginning of the Evelyn thing was super dark.
I was like, I get this trying to show the grimy side of the world, but they're not doing it well.
No.
Like they're just
It's a one-off type thing.
it's like shock and awe.
Yeah. So
instead of like fitting into this like world they made, which is
and here's the thing with me with and we are absolutely dogging this game for good reason, but Amit had said it and I think you had said it. I don't know if we, but I fell into the hype for the game. I was at the point
100%.
where I was like, okay, this is going to be the next big thing. This is going to be the next big RPG. This is going to be game changing in ways we see storytelling in RPGs. It wasn't the case for me. And I think we can all agree on that. It didn't feel like a mind blowing new RPG. It felt like, okay, I'm doing things, I'm doing missions in a different RPG, but it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Yep. This game does things that all games do, but it doesn't do anything perfectly. It's like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and that's where like, and I told Greg this, I put Fallout on the pedestal for RPGs because that was the first one, like my first big RPG. By no means is Fallout perfect in regards to 3 or 4. Like the game is not perfect. But the thing Fallout does well is that Cyberpunk did not do well. I can get lost in the Fallout story all 3 times for all the different endings and never feel like I'm seeing the same thing outside of the opening dialogues with the characters you meet and the story. Like you really feel like you can make your own story in a Fallout. Cyberpunk felt way too linear for me because like you had the end game, at least one of the end games in mind already of like your guy is going to die. And if he doesn't, isn't one of the endings like you just straight up become the bitch of the company that like saved you or whatever?
Like they
if you trust
like
Arasaka, that one.
Yeah, they bring you to like fix you and heal you, but they don't, and they say you can basically become an engram like Johnny, or you can just go back to Earth and die.
Well, yeah, and then that's where the DLC probably is going to come in, is they're going to figure it out, and then you can live on, and you just finish the rest of your missions or something.
DLC should not be V at all.
Dude, but like the whole game, like I really thought we were like, well, no, maybe not. You knew you were going to play someone outside of Silverhand, but it was such a bland character to me. Like there was nothing more to him outside of I'm going to die. I need to get help.
But like even before that, how corny is like his MO, his like reason for being and doing things is to be a legend. I want to be a legend.
Like that's so dumb.
He just wants a drink named after him.
And it just, the story, like a good RPG will get you on the story and it'll get you on the side missions. I'll give it to Cyberpunk. And by some, I mean the 10 or 15 I played, half of them were really fun side missions or really good if your game worked. If you didn't run into any problems that frustrated you, which 9 out of 10 people can say, they ran into issues with the game. But me personally, as like the story was nothing. It's not memorable. I can't tell you, like, I can tell you the missions I played, but I'm not going to tell you 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this mission in Cyberpunk, you did this, this, and that is one of the best missions I've ever played. There's not a single mission in this game that gives me that feeling.
See, like, I'll give it some. I think the story is like kind of interesting. It's not like groundbreaking. What kills it for me is what Amit was saying when you're like for me, like I was getting close with Johnny. Like at one point you let Johnny like take over your body and like you do missions as him and stuff. And like that was cool. And you get this like camaraderie with him. And then he's like talks to you like you guys hate each other.
Yep.
And it's like we've been friends for a while now.
Yeah. And another thing, and I'm using Fallout because Fallout is the baseline for me here. And I told you guys this. The answers and the choices you get in this game are Horizon Zero Dawn. You can answer anything and it doesn't matter.
Yep, and your life path makes no difference. It's because it's not of any consequence. It just say something different, and you get the same answer.
The only thing I questioned that I didn't do, and I wonder if you guys did. Do you remember the mission where you had to get in that freezing tub with those people in the Underground Railroad or whatever?
The Voodoo Boys.
Yeah. Did you test her and you were like, F this, I'm going to shoot this whole place up? Or did you just let her talk shit to you?
Oh, no, I shot the place up.
So did that?
That's the only difference. Yeah.
And I was going to ask you.
You can walk free or you can kill everybody.
And I was going to say, the only time I felt that my answer had a consequence in that game was that moment in that game.
You are 100% right.
That was it.
That's how I felt too.
There was never another moment in the main story where I felt like if I answer this wrong, I'm fucked.
Or besides romancing someone, because
I mean,
there's
there
a
are
linear path
missions
to that.
where things they do make some difference, but not often. Not often.
And
like to get Johnny Silverhand's car, you have to like spare a life in a side mission when a rogue's.
It's just stupid shit. You know what I mean?
But
like,
nothing big.
Right.
And I can personally attest to this. The praise I gave CD Projekt after only playing one of their games, being Witcher 3, I feel like now I'm like, okay, I need to get them off this pedestal I put them after playing one game of theirs. Because I thought Witcher 3 was a perfect game. I enjoyed it, this and that. But in my opinion, they should never make another Cyberpunk unless it's completely revamped.
I think this is a good transition into like a kind of a assessment on what happened with them and all like. So like for me, I think this reminds me a ton of No Man's Sky, where it was like we hyped it up as a fan base, as a community.
Yeah.
We were excited. Witcher 3, they're making Cyberpunk. They announced this 7 years ago. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. They've been working on it for 7 years, which they obviously didn't.
They could do it 7 more years. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, release it in 2077.
And it'll still be broken.
It was this hype, but then just like Hello Games, No Man's Sky, they bought into the hype themselves. They like started feeding it.
I was going to say, Greg, I feel like they more hyped themselves than anybody really hyped that game.
Oh, I think it was like a vicious circle. Consumer hype when they announced it.
They were going on like talk shows.
Oh, I saw them on Kimmel.
That's what I'm saying.
On Fallon.
But like,
I remember seeing it on Fallon.
Like the gamers said, "Oh my God, this is going to be the next great thing," and they said, "You know what? Yes, it is." And here, look at this. And they kept over promising. So, like I tuned out a lot of those trailers. I
never had much for No Man's Sky, but I get where you're going.
No, I'm not talking about No Man's Sky. I'm talking about CD.
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there's parallels between the two. They both did this, whereas like they kept building it up and saying like, check out these sweet cars. Look at all this we did. And people would get, oh my God, here's Keanu Reeves. Check this out. Oh my God. And like,
what is it saying? Not all that's gold shines or whatever.
They never once tempered expectations. They never once said, hey, you know what? It's kind of buggy. Why are you delaying it? Oh, just so it's perfect.
They just kept telling you, hey, it's perfect. But here's a new screen share of how good the game looks.
No, and then there were the rumors that the Xbox Series X version, the PS5 version, PC versions were fine, but the old console versions were not that good, and that's why they were delaying it. And then so that was the rumor. And then for the game to come out and not be able to be playable on base PS4 and base Xbox One, and then saying, "Oh well, we didn't know about that." How
do you work on a game that got announced for that generation,
right?
And it plays in 720p on that hardware, like, and then the rumors of like, oh well, it wasn't really 8 years. They started development in 2016. Okay, you still had 4 years, like 4 years to work on the game. It didn't run magically on the Pro or the Series X either. Like it wasn't the best there either.
Don't announce your games 8 years early. Looking at you, Skyrim.
You know what I mean?
Or what is it? Elder Scrolls
Elder
6
Scrolls.
and Starlink. Like, come
so
on.
It's like, you know,
Cut
that's
that out.
and I get it. We've transitioned into new consoles, but again, when you've been announced for 8 years, when you are allegedly working on the game for 5 years, 6 years, you know, it should not look like a Xbox 360, PS2, PS3 game
Yep.
on the base models.
Yep.
If you wanted to avoid that, you should have just come out straight and been like, hey, it's not the best on these, but it is good on the Pro, the Series, or the One X, and obviously it runs on the Series X and the PS5, which seemed to be the running thing for when it dropped. I think
and they have the consumer's trust, right? Like
Mhm.
everyone's like everything I heard about CD Projekt Red is like, hey, these guys care about their games. They're gonna constantly
that was
keep
so
updating
me.
them.
Yeah,
You know, with like
that
the
was
with
so
like
me.
for like Witcher 3. Witcher 3 when it came out wasn't perfect.
Witcher 3 was awful when it came out.
but-
It was
but-
so broken.
But they're like, here, we're gonna keep patching it. We're gonna keep you guys up to date. We're not shy about this stuff, right? We're being truthful with you. So everyone has their trust. And when Cyberpunk does this and they're hiding stuff, it's just a 180 from what the perception of their company was.
I've never seen a company in this industry, the video games industry, burn so much goodwill so fast.
Oh my
Like,
god.
That Rob was telling me like this is the only part he wanted to contribute to was like what you're about to say, Greg. Like they did this. They're the first to ever do this.
They lied about it. I mean, they straight up lied
The
about
wheels
what was
just kept falling off.
they were selling, and then they lied about that they knew about it, and then they said, "Oh, come get your refunds," and they screwed over their distributors and by making them give refunds. And that's like I respect for PlayStation just pulling it off the store, saying like,
That's Xbox
so what?
should have did the same thing.
We're gonna let people buy the game, play
And
it,
then
and
refund
get their
it?
refund.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think so.
And it actually started with the crunch though, right? They said that they were never going to have a crunch on this game. And what do we find out later? People
The
have been
first
crunching
release
for
date comes,
a year,
yeah.
right? Like people have been crunching for a year, and it's like
When even if you want,
that.
there's people who defend crunch, saying, "Oh, people will put in the extra time to make a great game. They get their incentive bonuses by making great meta scores. So some of the workers want to put in that time. How you know what? They didn't make a great game. They
didn't. It's
they
not
made a broken game.
And I also think the whole refund thing, like to the people that are like, I have to refund the game and I don't get to keep the game. Like, what rock do you live under where you get to return something and you keep the something? Like,
still want to play it though.
Yeah, right. Like, why are you returning it if you want to play it? Like, and me and Greg talked about this. Like, these idiots are going to refund this game to be a part of the trend, but they're going to buy the game in 6 months when it gets better. And
heard
play
you
it.
can't do that. I've heard like PlayStation has done that before. Once you get a refund on their store, it blocks your ability to purchase and use that license.
They'll go get like a fucking physical copy or something, right? Like they'll get a new PSN account.
I can't wait for that though, when everyone's trying to buy it in like a year, and it's like, wait, what?
And they got lucky.
My
like
account's locked out.
They've had like the first month for them PR wise. Like there was a new tweet every 2 days. Like it was hell for them.
Oh, having a yellow screen with text is a meme now.
Yeah,
right?
For good reason. It was hell for them. But it seems like the last couple weeks they've been quiet. Nobody's really complaining about it anymore. They got the hate out the system. But I think they're in a weird spot because the next announcement they make, which they made a small announcement in regards to, hey, there's possible DLC in February 2021, the first free DLC. Stay tuned. The second they tweet anything, it's hell on the internet for them. It's the broken images, the PS4 standard images, the memes, and it's just like, what, in your guys' opinion, like, because I'm done with the game. I don't even think I'll play the free DLC, and if there's paid DLC, they can fuck right off with that, to be honest. What do you guys think they need to do to, one, win back their fans, and two, make this game either be worth some of the hype or even, be worth playing again? If you haven't beaten it, or you're like a meat, you had to stop it when you're 95% of the way and you're thinking about picking it up again when it gets optimized.
For me, their optimized versions have to be the tits, right? It's gotta be
It's got to be
amazing.
butter.
It's gotta be good, right? It has to be good. And the thing is,
Yeah.
people want to see these new consoles in action, and if they can make these versions look, I know they can't look like the PC version, but if you can get close to the PC version, that's
Dude,
what I
but
think,
this was
it's
the
stunning,
fucking game that was
right?
supposed to be what showed what these consoles
Right.
do.
Right. And so if that is, I think that will get people back on the new consoles if you can make it running close to what PC's running and make it with that ray tracing, make it look stunning. Because the PC screenshots I've seen look amazing. They look, if I was playing that, I might be able to forgive it some, but that's not the version I'm playing. If it can look like a reference level game,
Mhm.
that is going to draw people in.
Greg.
I mean, what's interesting is like, yeah, with The Witcher, it was like there were broken things at launch, and same with like Fallout. We always have that, right? With these big
Right,
RPGs,
exactly.
an item, you close the door while this item is in this basket,
Game
and it breaks the
breaks.
whole game.
Yeah.
So they patch those things out. The other thing we've seen areas with like ongoing patching are usually these consistent world games, your Anthems, your Destiny's, Division, the ones that the biggest complaints are they're not content rich enough and all that. And a lot of the goodwill comes, I'd say, if in the RPGs when patches totally fix the game. It's pretty much, you're not going to have game breaking bugs.
Right.
Maybe you get some weird stuff, but it's pretty fixed. And in the consistent games, it comes when you really put tons of time and attention to building your community and keeping it going over months and years.
Mhm.
That's what we're seeing like Anthem try to do now. We saw No Man's Sky do that. I don't know what the fix is, because for me here, obviously it's not a consistent game, but I think it's going to need months to almost maybe a year or so of patches just to get it to a point where it's what we expected. And then since it's not a consistent game, it's not this, keep adding content and coming back and you want to see what's new in the world. Are we going to care in a year?
Probably not.
I don't think we'll really care in a year. I just don't think they can do what it takes to really fix this in a time frame that's going to save it. Unless what
That's
Amit
fair.
says, if that Xbox Series X and PS5 version come out and they are immaculate. So I don't know what they do. I think as a company, just move on to Witcher 4, because I don't know if there's enough
Seriously,
here.
yeah.
And even if it looks great and it's not buggy, is the game here enough to like, are we wasting a year of time and resources to fix this thing? I don't know.
And I guess it's kind of, there's two more questions I have before.
Sunk cost.
I'm sure you have some speed round questions for this, Greg.
Yeah, okay, I'll come up with some.
What was I gonna say? The shit. Now I already forgot. The game itself for me, like, do you think it warrants a second game? If they were like, hey, we're giving a second game, are you gonna give it a shot? You give it a shot,
I'll
but
give
like,
it a shot,
are you?
Yeah.
It's like the Watch Dogs thing. I was hyped as hell for Watch Dogs 1. I played Watch Dogs 1. It sucked. I played Watch Dogs 2. I enjoyed it, but was it amazing? Probably not. Was it a decent game? Yeah. And if there's a Cyberpunk 3077, what's this fucking graphics card names at this point? It's like, where do they put it in the expectation levels? Where do you hype this? Because like Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 was like what, 8 years, and when you see that or hear that war never changes, fans go crazy. You see another Cyberpunk whatever year come up in a couple years, and you're just going to hear boos at the first E3 when COVID is gone. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything they can do, or is this studio just a Witcher studio at this point? After, them being like, hey, we're branching out, we want to try something new, but it flopped.
Just be a Witcher studio, seriously. I don't think they need to do anything. The Witcher is so loved. Just do what you know you're good at. And yeah, sure, Cyberpunk 2077, you tried something, it didn't work. You lost a lot of, we talked about it earlier, you lost a lot of goodwill with the public. Just make a solid game that everyone likes. And this is a world of forgiving people. You know what I mean? Like, look at Tiger Woods, right? He's back on top. Everyone wants to do it. Like everyone wants to forgive people. Everyone wants to forgive greatness. You know, like
But there was no greatness here.
No. But CD Projekt Red Witcher 3 is one of the best games probably.
But can they make a Witcher 4 with losing so many investors?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Short
memories.
Without having to bring another studio.
Well, that's why I to your original question, I think it'd be cool to see a next, a sequel, because it's such a cool world and all that. But I think if you're them, it's a sunk cost. You write this off as a failed experience, and you just hop right back into Witcher, and you try to, oh wow, everybody forgot how great Witcher 3 was. Here's Witcher 4. Hype will be higher than Cyberpunk. People, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People forget.
So what are you guys rating wise?
There'll be jokes, but people will forget.
Are we giving Cyberpunk 9 and 10s like the whole world was the first 48 hours when this fucking game came out?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I told you. You guys all kept telling me, hey, everybody's got it at a 9. Everybody's got it at a 10. You played the game.
Well, I mean, I know you're playing PC version, but like the PC version, the way it looked amazing, right? Like, yeah, things are going to crash. There's bugs. I get that. But I think a lot of these low scores are going to come into the game being unplayable in some of the states on some of the consoles they're even trying, right? Because they only gave out PC versions. So yeah, 10s I think was really high. I can see how people gave this a 9 if they had a really good experience. They have all the graphics cards. They have everything going for it.
I would have still gave it that 7 I gave it on the first week.
Yeah,
on PC.
Did you still give it a 7?
I want to hear your guys' first, because there's no fucking shot I'm giving it a 7.
I can't give it a score. It's incomplete. I haven't finished the game.
Well, I mean, you've seen the ending though.
Yeah.
Like,
from
what you've played, from what you've seen,
I'd probably still give it a 7.
Oh man, good for you.
6.5, 7 for me.
I'm 4 or 5. There's nothing about this game that I loved, and if I don't love a single thing in the game, I can't give you above a 5.
I love how much you hate this game.
Yeah, my hate is a 10 out of 10.
It's been one of the most interesting things to watch over the past few weeks.
It's like it's so frustrating because it's like the hype for the game. This is like me playing 2K every year. Like, I'm excited. They hype me with a trailer, and then I hate it the first night. You know what I mean? I played 20 hours of Cyberpunk, which, a lot of people played 75 hours or 50 hours. And Greg, how much did you put in, you think? 40?
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
And I feel like after there gets to a point at that 12 to 15 hour point where you're like, I just want to be done.
Yeah.
At least for me. Greg enjoyed doing the side stuff, so it could be different for Greg. But there got to a point to the game where I'm just like, I don't want to play this anymore. And when I get to a point in that, like in a game where it's like, I just want to beat it, you've lost me. And they lost me within the first 2 weeks, maybe first week of playing the game. I just wanted to beat it.
See, for me, it's like that is the reason it got as high as it did. Is I never had that experience. It was always like, hey, I enjoy turning it on at night, knocking out a few missions, turning on when I have some time playing. I enjoyed the story. I would have probably had it closer to an 8 if it wasn't for the fact that it just froze all the time. It was broken. It's just not the AI is messed up. Like this is one of the most like conflicted I've ever felt on a game. Usually it's it takes a few minutes to get good. It takes a few hours to get good, and then you fall in love with the game. I don't think I've ever played a game and just fallen like out of love with it so much. Like
I've loved it at first, and you were done the longer you went.
Yeah, I mean, I was still enjoying playing it and the parts of it, but it was just like, man, like I can't think of a good analogy, but you're at a bar, you see a girl, and you're like, oh wow, and then like you step out, it's daylight, and maybe something like that. Like
at 2, she's a 10. At
you
10,
just
she's
had
a 2.
Drunk goggles on for this game. Maybe it was the hype and all that, but
that's where I keep coming back to is like, maybe if it wasn't this hyped, I wouldn't hate the game as much. But also, for someone who's playing on PC, for someone who's allegedly playing the version that all these reviewers got, even though I don't have a 2080 or a 3080, like they had the best specs or whatever to play it, I have a pretty decent computer, and I still ran into crashes I still ran into bugs. I literally was standing in a window and it threw me 500 yards away from the window. I'm talking to Takamura and we brought a car and a person pulls up to take Takamura away. That person is driving into my car the whole dialogue scene and getting under the car, and the car is flipping. I step out of my apartment. There's cars flipping around through the elevator. Like people are walking in the apartment. Like the thing you sent us yesterday of me. Like it's just so
That was
like
great.
That's
The
amazing.
T-poses just
Yeah.
you know, it's just like it's those stupid things. Like you're driving and out of nowhere, 5 cars are flipping up and down.
Yeah. See, I never ran into all that stuff until the very end. And I had a really good experience playing it, but then it just then it got really frustrating, you know? And the only issue I came up with during the game was my sound went away, so I had to restart the system. But that was it. Up until then, I had like no glitches or anything like that. It was a really smooth run until the ending where I can't go down an elevator, I can't pick something up, and I can't beat something.
So this is, I think, Greg, I might have asked you that one night we were talking in our separate chat. Was there ever a boss that you felt like, are there bosses in this game that you felt were memorable, or do you even remember any of the bosses? Because I felt like there were no bosses outside of the guy that could heal himself.
Yeah, I don't even really consider them to be bosses.
There was no mission where you were like, oh, this is that peak of what we've been building up to, and then the act ends. It was like, and I was just like, okay, like I fought another guy. Cool.
Yeah.
Adam Smasher at the end is kind of like he's really tanky, so he takes a lot of damage.
Like but you knew Adam Smasher was the boss.
Yeah.
But you never knew, like when you fought that guy, when you had to go through the sniper stuff, the guy that could heal himself.
Yeah.
Who the hell was that? Like, what story did he play in that act?
He was the protector.
He was
the sister.
Yeah.
Who you meet like in Japantown down by the
docks.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for me. Like that's how much like I was so invested in the story.
He had a great katana though. I'm glad I got that katana.
I was like, oh shit, cool.
Yeah.
And it's like
I remember Sasquatch only because of the name.
I remember this guy named Jiro because every time I logged onto the game or loaded a save or fast traveled, Johnny would say the same line. Poor bastard, Jiro probably out somewhere in Albuquerque.
I do remember that
in
one.
A brain farm. And every time it would load, it would say that, and then the subtitles would get stuck on my screen forever.
I had the control layout, like this, if you hit X, it does this. If you hit whatever, I had that stuck on my screen for 48 hours.
See, I had no issues like that at all until the end.
All right, so how about this? This wasn't a bug. I think just poor game design. How about anytime you try to cross the street, just getting run over by a car?
Oh my god, dude! They don't even act like they're gonna stop. They just level you.
And then knockdown time for 2 seconds. Oh,
but like you said, though, you'll come outside and there'll be a line like 50 cars deep after a mission.
Yeah,
but with that, they'll run you over.
They'll just everybody's run you over. No cops stop them.
And so I'm going to get my final question before Greg, if he does have any, or Amit, if you have any.
Oh, I can do this a couple.
We always give every game 2 sides. What is, and I'm not going to start because I need to dig deep in the vault. What was your most memorable or enjoyable moment playing this game? Holy shit, nobody has one.
Let me think.
See, but it's never taken this long.
The Panam missions are the best part of the game.
I feel like that's going to be the cop-out answer, though, for all 3 of us.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the first big mission you get when you have to go into the tower. I thought that whole mission was a lot of fun. I mean, and that's the whole basis of the whole story too. So I think they had to nail that mission for you to have some type of buy-in and setting everything up. And I thought that whole mission was great. Getting into the Delmain or whatever and going into the tower and hack. You kind of did everything, right? You did the hacking with the little spider thing, and and then you go down the elevator, and then you find out what happened, and you see the murder happen. I thought that whole storyline and mission were a lot of fun. So that'll be my highlight. And even I think Adam Smasher's in that too. So you get everything. So I think that whole mission, it sets everything up. And I think from there, it's all downhill. But that whole thing from start to finish, I thought was really, really well done.
I was so pissed when he turns on you. Oh, I couldn't forgive him. That part was good to me. You're right.
Did you guys ever go back and find out that Takamura was alive after the building fell apart?
Nope.
Okay, I read that one online that
Yeah,
was a
me too.
thing.
Yeah, I had you for the trophy.
Greg,
So,
you said, are you sticking with your Pan Am for your highlight of the game?
yeah, for sure. I mean that part, story wise, I think was the strongest, and I think if you do those missions in her ending, like it really comes together as a full story. And I
Mhm.
think it was cool doing them earlier and then like she comes and helps and like they all help and they kind of bring you into their family. And it was like, oh, like this is a good payoff to something I did earlier. Like I don't know how it would have felt if it was like I just like what you were doing on me, like just back to back Pan Am and then gonna end it.
Yeah.
But like just the natural way I played it, it was like I did those earlier. I had some time away and then like that it just felt like well rounded. I like that part.
I got nothing. So, Greg, you can just give your questions.
I really don't have any for this one.
We might not have a speed round, folks. I think Cyberpunk was everything we hoped it wouldn't be at most points. Would you recommend people playing it in the current state?
No.
Greg,
Wait.
would you, if you were someone who wasn't on top of gaming as us three and we can just freely play whenever?
Yeah, I don't think you could like if I recommended this to anyone or if someone recommended this to me and I was in that position, I would be so pissed if I was not on top of it. Like why would you recommend a broken game to me?
It would be
like it's impossible to recommend. It's really atrocious, like the way the game came out.
And you're talking to the guy that really loved it when it came out, so
Yeah.
It's Cyberpunk. I hope. And again, I might rag the game. I don't like the flack that devs have been getting. I don't, whether it's deserved or not. That's the whole thing. But you can't be threatening devs.
Don't threaten anybody.
Yeah, don't threaten anybody. It's a video game, man. You move on with your life.
Yeah. This is all video games.
Yeah, it's never that serious. It's truly never that serious. But I truly hope that maybe in the coming year or maybe in 2 years, Cyberpunk can be or will be what it was hyped to be. And until then, if you're on console, wait to see it. And you haven't played it, wait till the optimized version and get back to us, because I know these guys will probably go back and play it. I'm sure Greg will check out DLC, and it's free. Why not give it a shot? As for me, I can't see myself going back to that game. But it's just it was different in many bad ways, is what I'm trying to say. It was not the groundbreaking, game changing like game of the century that everybody's going to remember in 10 years, 20 years. And that's not me ragging on it. It's hard to be that game. It's hard to be the game that changes the future of gaming, or RPGs or whatever they were trying to do. They tried something new. It just didn't work. It didn't go their way. After coming off a Witcher 3 high for 5 years, they moved on from it and they were like, hey, let's try this. Sometimes things don't work.
We need a good game. We need a good game to talk about next. I don't like just ragging on games.
Yeah, it's getting ugly, guys.
This deserved it. It deserved it, but it's not as fun.
And what do we have coming out? Like,
it got announced today. Super Mario World 3D.
Me and me bought that.
I thought you were gonna talk about Xbox getting
Indiana
their first exclusive.
Maybe, who knows?
We might have to have a Bethesda talk if we're
going
being
up
honest
against
here.
Uncharted.
Yeah, well, Uncharted better watch out. They're messing with what they're based off of, essentially.
I mean, who knows if it's going to be? It might be multi-plat. Who knows? Because the Bethesda deal isn't completely it's not finished yet. But Xbox retweeted it. PlayStation didn't. So there has to be something going on.
Timed exclusive, Timed exclusive.
They did that in what?
Timed exclusive of PlayStation.
PlayStation will get it a year later or 6 months later.
I don't know. I think this is the type of game that they could really stick on theirs and keep that exclusive, unlike the Skyrim or the
Shit, they need it.
Starfield or whatever.
yeah.
They need
This
it.
one, Avowed. I think these are the types of games that are going to be our day one Game Pass.
So what's the next big? Cyberpunk is done. We're
think
transitioning. Cyberpunk is done. We're closing like this.
Hitman 3 looks awesome. I don't know.
See, but
I'll
like
probably
Hitman
wait-
3 is
I'll
not going to be
probably wait
groundbreaking for me though.
Ratchet
the
and Clank.
previews, yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
When is
Returnal.
Ratchet? February?
No one first quarter or launch window. No one knows.
Oh, we don't have
Yeah.
a date for Ratchet and Clank
No.
yet.
No, I'm excited for Returnal, which comes in April. I think it's a PS5 exclusive. It's by Housemarque. They did Resogun, which was
Resogun was fun.
one of my first plats. I love that game.
Yeah.
And it looks to be like kind of like a roguelike. So you go back, but you know, almost Souls-ish though, where you pick up stuff, but it's all about like doing a run and trying
Yeah.
Hades, like, I guess.
Yeah.
Very much like a Hades. And those guys do awesome, like kind of arcadey games.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that. I think that could be really good.
What's the release date on that?
I believe it's April. I
Okay.
could be.
God, that is
I'll
so
look
far.
The
I
medium's
know,
coming
but
out.
that's like his. Oh yeah.
The medium's coming out,
What's
and
that?
then it's like a horror game where like it's running, and it's only Series X. I think it's not on One X or anything. It's a next gen exclusive. It's a medium person who's got like you're running two like the same environment in two different times.
Oh, I remember that. I remember
And
that.
you got
I
to
remember
switch
that.
back
Yeah.
and forth, so it looks cool. But I'm playing Hive Busters tomorrow with some buddies. So if you guys want to talk
Oh,
about
Gears. All
that,
right.
yeah, it looks
I-
beautiful.
We're gonna need something to talk about because we
Yeah.
literally the lineup right now is there's nothing.
Returnal is March 19th, so that's
Oh.
sooner.
It
So
is
that's
sooner.
but that would be the first PS5 exclusive of the year.
What's Xbox's
can-
first one? What is Halo? Next year? End
No,
of this year.
yeah. October. It's probably going to be November 15th, which is the 20th year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
They'll go up against COD.
Yep.
They'll sell well though, because
I don't
it's Halo, since it's an every 5-year game.
See,
Or,
I don't-
or if you have Game Pass, it's free.
There you
I
go.
don't buy that they'll do it up against they'll be beholden to the anniversary, because it was supposed to come out last year, which
Yeah.
wasn't an anniversary. So like, I don't think it's
It'll
like
be their
that-
excuse to
but
put
it
it
would
there
be-
though.
But it would have been the first launch Halo since the original Halo if it came out with Series X.
Yeah.
True.
And they said fall already. They said fall of 2021, which is why not just hold it till November then, which is the 20th anniversary.
Just don't rush it. We know what happens when you rush it.
So we're gonna be in a little limbo with games for a while. We might have to start talking about movies or something because
Oh, WandaVision, guys, comes out on Friday.
we could.
Oh,
How many
that's
episodes?
exciting.
Is it a 1 week thing?
I think it's supposed to be 9 episodes.
But is it like
two-
once a week?
Yeah, two. I think the first 2 episodes are coming out this Friday.
Well, if you guys want to talk about that, we can because
Or-
I'm always down for that.
I got my Marvel stuff on right now.
There you
Let's
go.
Star Wars Christmas shirt. Even
Yeah,
though
I'm
it's
wearing a
little-
Muhammad Ali shirt. It just says "greatest of all time." But
I'm,
yeah,
I'm playing Demon Souls, and I think I'm gonna go on a little like Souls run. Just get into those while I'm waiting for new games to come
oh
out.
yeah,
so-
let's talk about what we're playing. Amit, what are you playing?
Hive Busters tomorrow. Hopefully we can knock it out for 3 hours. If not, I'll hold that off and just to play with some, because it's a 3-player co-op, so I'm only gonna play that with my friends. But next week I'm starting my Last of Us 2 run. So
Oh hell yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna need a Amit
I mean,
reacts.
tell them your schedule.
all
Here's
right,
a-
this
so-
our
is the
lineup.
best.
Our lineup. Amit's
This is the
lineup.
best.
yeah, so we got Hive Busters, then we got Last of Us 2, and then we're gonna switch it up and go to Ghost of Tsushima, and then we're gonna go Final Fantasy 7 remake. So that's it.
Amit's gonna be done in 2023 with all these
Yeah, man.
games.
I'm gonna be
I'm just jealous. That's such a good lineup.
I mean here I want to play these games. We still have Gotham Knights coming out this year, which
I forgot
super
about
pumped for
that.
Hogwarts Legacy, that looks
I'm on
really really good.
I'm on it.
I think after the PS5 event, that was the #1 reviewed trailer on the internet more than any other game during that PS5 review.
Oh hell yeah,
So
Wow.
yeah, so
that's
that
shocking to me, actually.
yeah.
yeah.
More than Miles. I mean, it was actually one of the longer trailers too. They showed a
Yeah,
lot.
they should
in
have
that.
showed a
Mhm.
decent amount
And I mean, those Harry Potter fans haven't had anything good to talk about.
since PS2.
So
Uh, Yeah, we won't open that bag.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. I'm playing Red Dead Online, GTA Online. I'm out of games, guys. Like I'm gonna go back to Valhalla. I've been
Oh, I
playing.
still have that too.
I know I should do that, but
I need to.
Souls is calling me.
Yeah.
Oh, Back for Blood. We should all do a thing with that when that drops
Yeah.
this summer. I know this is
Totally.
brainstorming. We got to get like a everybody's gaming video of us playing that, which would be easy to do. Because I only
that's
thought of
perfect
that
for that.
because I'm playing Left 4 Dead 2 tomorrow with a buddy.
Yeah.
But yet, like, we're at that point where we got new consoles and now it's dry with games and we're replaying old games.
And yeah, COVID didn't help with that at all, right?
Yeah,
so
and COVID really screwed
supply
the
chain
industry.
and all that.
Yeah. So, but we will discuss something soon. We will find something else to talk about. This has been our wonderful love video for Game of the Year, Cyberpunk 2077. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video more than you enjoyed playing Cyberpunk. If you didn't like both, well, then there's just something wrong with you. But anyways, guys, it was fun as always. I will talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Later.
Take it easy, guys.